welcome to Crime Bible. Today I want to talk about the gruesome case that unfolded in Colorado. The Chris Watts case is a tragic and infamous true crime story that unfolded in Frederick, Colorado, in August 2018. Christopher Lee Watts, commonly known as Chris Watts, murdered his pregnant wife, Shannan Watts, and their two young daughters, Bella and Celeste, in their family home. The case garnered widespread media attention and shocked the nation due to the senseless violence and apparent lack of motive. Chris Watts was born on May 16, 1985, in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He met Shannan Watts in 2010, and they married 2 years later. Shannan was a successful sales representative for a multi-level marketing company called Levelon, and Chris worked for Anadarko Petroleum. The couple had two daughters, Bella, born in 2013, and Celeste, born in 2015. Shannan was pregnant with their third child, a son they planned to name Nicole, at the time of her death. The events leading up to the murders began on the morning of August 13, 2018, when Shannan returned home from a business trip to Arizona. Later that day, Shannan and the girls were reported missing by a friend after Shannan failed to show up for a doctor's appointment and didn't respond to calls and messages. The following day, Chris Watts made emotional pleas for his family's safe return in media interviews. However, suspicion quickly turned toward him as inconsistencies emerged in his story and behavior. Law enforcement conducted searches of the family home and nearby areas, eventually discovering the bodies of Shannan, Bella, and Celeste at a property owned by Chris's employer, Anadarko Petroleum. Under pressure from investigators, Chris Watts confessed to murdering his wife and daughters. He initially claimed that Shannan had killed the girls in a fit of rage, and he had subsequently killed her in a moment of anger. However, he later admitted that he had murdered all three of them. Shannan had been strangled, and the girls had been smothered. Chris Watts was arrested on August 15, 2018, and charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder, among other charges. In November 2018, he pleaded guilty to all charges as part of a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. He was sentenced to 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 48 years for the unlawful termination of Shannan's pregnancy and other crimes. The Chris Watts case had a profound impact on the public, sparking discussions about domestic violence, mental health, and family dynamics. It also raised questions about the warning signs of domestic abuse and the importance of recognizing and addressing them. The case has been the subject of numerous documentaries, podcasts, and true crime investigations, captivating audiences around the world. Let's delve deeper into various aspects of this case. Understanding the dynamics within the Watts family is crucial to comprehending the events that transpired. While outwardly portraying a picture-perfect family life on social media, there were reportedly underlying tensions and conflicts. Shannan Watts often shared details of her life on social media, including her struggles and successes, which provided some insight into the family's dynamics. One of the most perplexing aspects of the case is the apparent lack of a clear motive for the murders. Chris Watts initially claimed that he committed the murders in a fit of rage after Shannan allegedly strangled the children. However, this narrative quickly unraveled as evidence pointed to premeditation. Psychological analysis of Chris Watts and his actions shed light on possible motives, including issues of control, resentment, and desire for a new life. The legal proceedings following Chris Watts' arrest were closely watched by the public. His decision to plead guilty as part of a plea deal rather than face a trial and the potential death penalty was significant. The plea deal spared the victims' families the trauma of a lengthy trial and ensured that Chris Watts would spend the rest of his life behind bars. However, it also left many unanswered questions about the specifics of the murders and Chris's motivations. During the sentencing phase, emotional victim impact statements were delivered by family members of Shannan, Bella, and Celeste. These statements provided a heartbreaking glimpse into the profound grief and loss experienced by the victims' loved ones. They also highlighted the enduring impact of the murders on the community and society as a whole. The Chris Watts case received extensive media coverage, with news outlets and true crime documentaries dissecting every detail of the investigation and trial. The case sparked intense public interest and debate, leading to discussions about issues such as domestic violence, mental health, and the criminal justice system's response to family-related homicides. In the aftermath of the Chris Watts case, there has been increased awareness of the warning signs of domestic violence and the importance of early intervention and support for victims. The case serves as a reminder of the devastating consequences of domestic abuse and the need for continued efforts to prevent such tragedies from occurring in the future. Overall, the Chris Watts case stands as a tragic reminder of the devastating consequences of domestic violence and the profound loss suffered by victims and their loved ones.